All right, well, let's take a little time to talk about our theme and what we're going to be focusing on this year. So, our theme is going to be building blocks of family. I don't know if you noticed or not, but the colors on your table are kind of primary colors, and the arrangements on your table are made out of what? Legos, okay? So we're going to kind of use this Lego theme, building blocks of family, as our theme this year. And we're going to focus on two things. We're going to focus on helping you build your marriage, and we're going to focus on helping you disciple your children. We feel that those two things are really the strength and the good foundation of a family. So our theme verse this year is from Psalm 127:1. Unless the Lord builds the house, those who build it labor in vain. When God puts together a family or builds the house, He has a purpose and a goal for your family. And one of the primary goals is for you to raise your children in a Christian household. So we want you to be able to do that, to be equipped to do that. So that's why we're focusing on this year. And if you attend the Bible Chapel, and 25% of you don't, how about that for a statistic? But if you do attend the Bible Chapel, you've been hearing Dave talk about the fruit of the Spirit, right? So those are some things that you would want to incorporate into your family life, are the fruit of the Spirit. But we want you to honor God in your family structure, and we want you to show your children how to live for the Lord, which is what discipleship is. So that's how we're going to do the building blocks of family. Now, let's talk about this whole Lego theme. You're going to be tired of Legos by the end of the year, I guarantee it. But, they're popular. Your kids love them, right? They're probably in Duplos right now, but they'll graduate to Legos one day. So the word Lego is actually a combination of two words. It's Danish. Leg means to play, and got, G-O-D-T, means well. So the founder of the Lego company combined those two words to mean play well. But unbeknownst to the founder, later he found out that Lego is also a Latin word. And that Latin word means I put together. How convenient is that, right? Isn't that neat? So you probably played with Legos as a child. I didn't actually, which is kind of funny. We didn't have Legos when I was a kid. Or maybe they weren't invented back then. Am I that old, Carol? I don't know. I think my parents were just boring parents or something. So, but our marriage topics are going to, and some of the games that we have are going to be focused around Legos. Okay, so you're going to get to play with Legos here. So bring out the inner child in yourself. Okay. So our marriage topics. Well, let me hold. So a lot of you don't know me very well, but I started off my career as a civil engineer, okay? I did that for 9 years before I went into ministry. I had a midlife crisis. So any of you going through a midlife crisis, come and see me. But what I do remember, one of the things that our professors taught us was a real simple principle in engineering is to design from the top down and build from the bottom up, okay? So when you're designing, even in Legos, you kind of know what you want to design and build. You have to think about what the final picture is going to look like in order to provide a sturdy enough foundation for that building, that structure, to be stable. So same thing happens in your families and in your marriages. You need to have a final picture in mind of what you want for your children and what you want for your marriage. Now, those of you who are married, and there's some of you that might not be married in this room, but for those of you who are, you probably remember your wedding vows. Do you remember what you said that day? No, you didn't, because you were looking forward to the honeymoon, I know. So was I. But here's what they probably sounded like. I take you to be my wedded husband, to have and to hold from this day forward, for better, for worse, for richer, for poorer, in sickness and in health, to love and to cherish, to honor and obey, so long as we both shall live, according to God's holy word, and thereto I give you my pledge. Okay, so that's just kind of a standard marriage vow. And unless you wrote your own vows, you probably repeated something very similar to that. But when we all got married, we were focusing on what? The better, the richer, the health. We weren't focusing on the sickness, the poorer, and the worse. But now that you've been married for a while, maybe a couple of years, I think some of that shiny might be coming off, right? You're seeing that there are two sinners living in your household, you and your husband. And you've got to figure this out. And the other thing that you probably don't realize is that even at a very young age, your children are watching your marriage. And they're learning from you. They're learning from you and your husband and how you interact and in how you deal with the poorer, the worse, and the sickness, okay? They're watching. So your marriage is a classroom for your kids, and it's a daily classroom for your kids. So that's why we wanted to focus on marriage as part of our Moms Together this year. So some of the lessons that get put together in marriage can include things like unconditional love, mutual respect, servant leadership, selflessness, forgiveness, and how to handle failure. These are lessons that your children need to learn, and they need to learn them from you because you're gonna model this for them throughout your life. Now, there's a lot of other lessons that they can learn from you too. And I want you to think about one of our a new discussion question that I added, sorry DGLs, was to think about some of the lessons that you want to teach your children. Because unless you plan, unless you design that from the top down, you'll never build it from the bottom up. You've got to be intentional about this. So let's talk about then, it's time for us to break into our groups. You're going to discuss these things. And some of you had really poor examples of parents in this marriage thing. So you're going to talk about in your groups some of the things that you would want to repeat from their marriage and some of the things that you would not want to repeat, okay? And then think about some of the things that you want to add for your own family.